Hey guys, Muncheez here, and welcome to another ZZZ video, and in this video I will be going over the anomaly characters, mainly Grace and Piper. I'll be going over their gear and their teams, and basically how to utilize these characters in the game because they are much more unique than your standard DPS in a conventional team. Now, the first thing I kind of want to go over are the Bangboos. So the Bangboos, if you are running Grace and you have a Plugboo, this is the best electric anomaly Bangboo there is, period, hands down. All they do is they build the anomaly build up much quicker. The caveat to this is that you need to have her with another electric character, either Anbi or Rina at the moment, or even Anton if you're running that. So there's a bunch of teams you can run with them. So you have various options. Same thing with the Electroboo. He's the exact same thing as the Plugboo, except just lower base stats and lesser damage. But the anomaly buildup and all that is still there. So if you don't have the S rank one, that is a perfectly acceptable option. As far as the physical one goes for Piper, there's only one S rank, and that's the Bangvolver. I couldn't find a lower rank of this. So this one is very unique in terms of physical anomaly buildup. So this is probably the best option if you're running like a physical anomaly team. If you're like fully invested into that team and whatnot, this is probably your best option. So it's not like the electric team where you have much more options to use with it, but this is definitely one of the best options for them. And as far as like the other Bangboos, there's a bunch of physical damage ones. I'm just not sure how great their anomaly buildup is in general, but they do have physical damage Bangboos in there. They're just not made for anomaly buildup like the Revolver Bangboo is. The next thing I want to talk about is their build and how they're different from like your conventional DPS character build. So they rely heavily on anomaly proficiency and anomaly mastery. So anomaly proficiency increases the amount of damage that your shocks and disorders and stuff do, and mastery affects the rate at which you apply them. So it is very important for these characters to gear towards these two stats in specific. So you are going to aim for these as like substats and main stats on the gear, as opposed to like your conventional crit rate, crit damage, and attack. So the most important line in my opinion is the 6th slot. And you can see here that it offers anomaly mastery. And once you have access to the yellow gear, which is the advanced gear, you'll be able to get 30% extra anomaly mastery just from the single slot alone as a main stat. So it'll drastically increase the rate at which you build your shocks and disorders. Now, as far as gear goes, you have the choice between having bigger damage, like anomaly damage, like your assaults and shocks and disorders and whatnot. So you can have a larger number of that, or you can have a quicker buildup of it. And what I mean by that is, so like if you use 4 set Thunder Metal and 2 set of Freedom Blues on Grace, your shocks will hit for much more. But if you're gonna run like say a 4 set Freedom Blues with a 2 set of the shock, it's going to build up much quicker, but it won't hit as hard. So both of these sets for both Grace and Piper do kind of the same thing, but Piper, instead of the Thunder Metal, she would use the Fanged Metal. Now let's talk teams a little bit. So teams in general for the anomalies at the moment is really weird to me because they're not really locked in place and they don't really have like something that's dedicated to them, I feel like. So they're very flexible in that sense, whereas they have like a lot of teams that they can be used in. So for example, Grace, the best character you can pair with her is Rina, but she also has synergies with Anton and Anbi. But hands down, Rina is the best character to use with Grace because she increases the amount of electro damage done, as well as provides extra pen. So if you have her and Grace, you can literally plug almost anything into that 3rd slot and your team will be relatively strong. And with the appropriate Bangboo, you'll be just doing a whole bunch of shock anomaly buildup like none other. So the best team for Grace, in my opinion, is her, Anton, and Rina, just because of the simple fact that there's no stun, but you'll just be building shock value like crazy. So if you have a Rina, you can plug Rina into that 3rd slot there. And if you do not have Rina, you will run probably a team with Anton and Anbi. So you'll just run her, Anton, Anbi, or you could run her and Piper even together. So her and Piper is kind of like a disorder team, and you can run her with Lucy for the synergies, just for that little extra damage. And if you want to utilize your Bangboo more, you can plug Anbi in there as a stun, so you can kind of have like a stun disorder team. So Grace and Anbi will be building up shock with the Bangboo, because the Bangboos require you to have 2 of the same element on the team. So to trigger these Bangboos, you either have to have Grace and Anbi, Grace and Anton, or anything of that sort. Now, for Piper, she has also a whole bunch of teams. So you can run Kaleda, Piper, and Lucy. So you can have this as like you can use her as like the main carry for this team. And you're basically just have Kaleda there for stun value. So she's just there literally for stun value. And then Lucy will proc the Bellabog management, which will allow you to utilize the additional abilities from her and Lucy. So with this team, you're utilizing all 3 bonus abilities from the characters. You can also run with Ben, and if you don't have a Kaleda, the free-to-play version, I guess you could just run Ben. So this also benefits all the bonus abilities from all 3 characters. Now, if you're running these teams, the preferred Bangboo for this one, I didn't talk about it earlier, is probably going to be the Rocket Boo. So the Rocket Boo is the fire anomaly version of this, so since you're using Lucy and Kaleda or Lucy and Ben, you'll have the fire bonus. Now the Rocket Boo is the S rank, I believe, and then there is also a rank called the Cry Boo, so that is going to be also a fire anomaly buildup if you do not have the S rank version of it. But for the most part, that is most of which you would follow for making an anomaly character in terms of building them and what stats to prioritize and what sets to use and whatnot. There are probably even more teams that I haven't mentioned, to where there's a lot of flexibility with them now, because they don't really have a set team for anomaly characters at the moment, I feel like. So yeah, you have flexibility with them, but like I said, the most important thing is that 6 slot for the gear with them to have that anomaly mastery on there. So if you want to test it out too, like I did, I took one of my pieces off my other character just because I had one. It increases the rate at which you build it up pretty quick, so it helps a lot. Now, as far as W engines go, for Grace in specific, she has one that's made for her, which is the Fusion compiler. So if you're looking for a best in slot for her, that's going to be the best in slot for Grace. Mainly because it just has the highest base stats, and the bonus from it is decent as well, because it increases your attack by 12% flat out, on top of giving anomaly proficiency. As far as the 4-stars go, you really can't go wrong in my opinion. The Electro Lip Gloss is probably like the best second slot option for everything that's currently out right now. So besides the weapons that are designed for the characters, you really can't go wrong with it. Rainforest Gourmet is good. It gives anomaly proficiency as a bonus stat, the same thing as the Electro Gloss, and it's just, they're all kind of like generic pieces of gear, and they're all pretty good. And even Weeping Gemini is good because it gives bonus attack, and then it also increases the anomaly proficiency. So they all kind of do like the same thing, and you don't really have to manage them too much other than just fighting the fight like you would normally do. Now, Piper has one that was made for her too, and it's just an A rank. So if you have Piper, I highly recommend this weapon. So it has like this huge wall of text, but basically what it is when you use your EX special, you have a chance to trigger these 3 effects. You can't stack the attack buffs, but these 3 stack together, if that makes sense. So you can have the attack percent, the anomaly proficiency, and the anomaly buildup rate. So you can have all 3 of them, but you cannot double these effects, if that makes sense. So these are great effects to have on Piper, and you don't really have to do anything besides just using your EX special attack. So you'll just be sitting there in a whirlwind, and you'll just be collecting these stacks as you're sitting in the whirlwind. But you pretty much can't really go wrong with these, is what I'm saying. So don't worry too much about the W engines, just as long as you have one. It shouldn't be too big of a deal which one you use, unless you're trying to like min-max the character entirely. But if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and sub on the way out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.